So I want to talk to you about a very special artist called Nick Drake. He was born in June, of 1948 and releasing his very special debut album released in 1969 called 5 Leaves Left. The album was produced by Joe Boyd, released under the label Island Records, and in 1969, and it's one of the best debut albums I've ever heard. He was a young guy. He went to college, studied poetry. I don't think he never finished college, but he learned a great deal about poetry, practiced his guitar playing, and wrote these 10 fantastic songs and recorded them. And there's no need in me grading all these 10 songs. I give the album an A+. All these songs are an A+ as well, probably. And man, I love listening to this album. I think it's absolutely wonderful. But I want to talk more about the experience of me listening to these songs and to kind of the concepts of these songs and the structure of the album, which I find very interesting, and I love doing that because I listen to these albums with my great headset on, with the lyrics in front of me, and just trying to think about what the songs are about and what it could mean. And Nick Drake is one of the best lyricists and interesting and fantastic musicians I've ever heard. He released, as I said, 5 Leaves Left, which is a pretty freaky album title, because 5 years after the release of this album, he would end up dying because of an overdose of his own prescriptive medicine. So it's not absolutely clear that he killed himself intentionally, but it could very well be true that he did. Anyways, the first song, Time Has Told Me, which is a more accessible song of Nick Drake. Great way to start the Nick Drake catalog. I love this song. The guitar is fantastic. He always plays great guitar, great acoustic guitar. Always a great vocal performance. It's always perfect. And then reading the lyrics or listening to this song, we find out that Nick Drake is very poetic, first of all, and he writes a lot about life. These songs are quite archetypal, and you can also see when you listen to Time Has Told Me that he takes a very meditative approach in looking at his own life through these lyrics. He's trying to figure out what is working and what is not, who he should meet and who he should not, who he likes. You get it, right? So there's this line, leaving the ways that are making me be what I really don't want to be, leaving the ways that are making me love what I really don't want to love. You can really tell that he is exploring these subjects, and it's a lot of fun. It's very unique, and I really like it. I don't know too many artists that do that in that particular way. Then we get Riverman, which is a strange song. I think it's about praying, because the main character, called Betty, is coming to Nick Drake, and she tells him that she has prayed today about things today and fallen leaves. I'm quoting the lyrics, of course. And then at every chorus of the song, Nick Drake goes to the Riverman. And I found this picture online on genius.com where they put up a photo of a bridge near the college that he went to. And, he would go there to study, to meditate, to play guitar, or to pray. And this song ends with a really weird line, "Oh, how they come and go." So is that Nick Drake saying that? Is that maybe God, saying that? He interprets it that way. It's a very mysterious songs, and Nick Drake has got a lot of those, and that's what makes him very interesting. We get a very big story song with 3 hours. Funny enough, the next song, Way Too Blue, which is a beautiful song, is about stories in general. So he sings He doesn't play guitar, and he sings over a beautiful arrangement. The melody, the singing melody is perfect. And this song is about stories in general. I really like the lyrics. It goes, "Don't you have a word to show what may be done? Have you never heard a way to find the sun? Tell me all that you may know. Show me what you have to show. Won't you come and say if you know the way to blue?" So he's asking these questions. He's asking, how do I live a good life? What should I do with my time? He's a young man. He's asking all these questions like we all are. And he actually writes down an answer in the bridge of the song, which is, "Look through time, find your rhyme, tell us what you find. We will wait at your gate, hoping like the blind." So I read these lyrics and I think, well, this is about, this is what he should do. He should live his life. He should, go through all of his experiences, think about them, write them down, and then tell stories about his own life, about people's stories around him, and tell that to his family, to everyone, to everybody. I think that's the main message of this song, which is great, because people will wait at your gate hoping like the blind. People always throughout history, everywhere, has always been connected by telling each other stories. So it really goes back a long way, and I really like it. It works perfectly well with the melody. So that's great. And we end side A with "Day Is Done," which is one of my favorite songs on this album. It's a little bit more of a straightforward song. The guitar, it really flows and it works well together with the lyrics and the vocals. The guitar playing is great. It's a little bit more of a dark song. "When the day is done, hope so much your race will be all run. But then you find you jumped the gun. Have to go back where you began when the day is done." So that is how side A ends. So we flip the vinyl over, and the first song contains one of my favorite lyrics of all time. It's right up there with my favorite artists like Bob Dylan or Gordon Lightfoot or Neil Young. These lyrics are absolutely fantastic. It's one of the most beautiful poems I've ever read. Which isn't saying that much, because I haven't read a lot of poetry, but I have read a lot of lyrics, so you make up your own mind. But in anyways, I think it's beautiful. It's a straight up love song. I think it works perfectly well. The next song, "The Thoughts of Mary Jane," is a love song also. I think you can interpret it in many ways. Mary Jane, I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's often connected with marijuana use. Could be that, but when I listen to this song and I read these lyrics, I absolutely think it's a love song. It's about the mystery of beauty, I think. He's asking all of these questions at the beginning of each verse. Who can know the thoughts of Mary Jane? Who can know the reasons for her smile? Who can know what happens in her mind? And these lyrics are so beautiful, and so that makes me wonder that the lyrics are about beauty, about love. It's a pure love song, and I like that it deals with that whole mystery, and the instrumentation is perfect. The guitar playing he plays guitar really well, and there's a beautiful flute arrangement. So then we get a very, in my opinion, uplifting song with "Man in a Shed." I think the instrumental part is very uplifting. It always gives me a smile when I listen to "Man in a Shed." The lyrics aren't particularly uplifting or anything. They're more straightforward, and that's really needed to have, a breather here, because the next song, "Fruit Tree," is a very dark song. Don't get me wrong, perfect though, but it's very dark. It's about the failure of reaching success, reaching fame. And it deals with this question of, do you want to achieve fame? Is it even possible? Should you want it? Or should you aim at success? Because everybody wants to be successful, and it's about the failure of reaching success. And the sad part is, the lyrics kind of deals with Nick Drake, his own life, because he released 3 albums, 5 Leaves Left, Brighter Later, and Pink Moon, and all 3 of them didn't sell a bit. It was until the 90s that Nick Drake's music was beginning to get noticed, and now he's a big cult figure. But as I said, Nick Drake died 5 years after the release of this album. So, it's like he's writing a song unintentionally about his own life. So that makes it even more dark. But it made me think, this song made me think of a book that I read, a fantastic book called Man's Search of Meaning, written by Viktor Frankl. And first, I highly recommend you read that book, or listen to the audio version of, a part of this album, read it. Man's Search of Meaning by Viktor Frankl is great. The book is about people trying to find meaning even in the most dark and horrible circumstances. The author, Viktor Frankl, was an Auschwitz prisoner in the Second World War. And yeah, I believe I got that right, yes. And this book is trying, and he's trying to, he is describing the psychology of himself and fellow prisoners during those horrible times. And it's really interesting and influential book. The reason I bring it up, though, is because in the preface of this book, he writes a paragraph about achieving success and fame. And I think it's very interesting. It's certainly very wise in my opinion. So I like to read it to you. You can let me know what you think. Again and again, I therefore admonish my students both in Europe and in America, don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue, and it only does so at the unintended side effects of one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. Happiness must happen, and the same holds for success. You have to let it happen by not caring about it. I want you to listen to what your conscience commands you to do, and go on to carry it out to the best of your knowledge. Then you will live to see that in the long run I say, success will follow you precisely because you had forgotten to think of it. Very interesting, very wise. So Nick Drake certainly wasn't looking at success and fame from that point of view, I think. As I said, he didn't sell anything. His family, he was praised a lot by his producer and family, and people now love Nick Drake's music. He's become quite a cult figure. But that's about it. It's a very dark song. I highly recommend you listening to it though. But it's great that we can end this album experience with the song Saturday's Sun, which is a more slow piano song about Saturday's sun, about about happiness, about being content just before Sunday's rain. So it's a little bit of an uplifting song to end this fantastic debut album. Listen to it. I recommend you listening to it with the lyrics in front of you. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can let me think, and you can let me know what you think of this album. And the album is over. This video is over, but first I'd like to read you the lyrics from Cello Song. Strange face, with your eyes so pale and sincere. Underneath, you know well, you have nothing to fear. For the dreams that came to you when so young told of a life where spring is sprung. You would seem so frail in the cold of the night, when the armies of emotion go out to fight. But while the earth sinks to its grave, you sail to the sky on the crest of a wave. So forget this cruel world where I belong. I'll just sit and wait and sing my song. And if one day you should see me in the crowd, lend a hand and lift me to your place in the clouds.